This is the program that shows you the side of police chase videos they didn't want you to see. Bungled arrests, kamikaze crooks, and cop-based carnage of all kinds. Welcome to Cops Uncut, the real car crash TV.
On my way.
Coming up in Cops Uncut. A lesson in rolling over. Some shocking footage of road carnage. And LA's Eye in the Sky picks up a rogue on the run.
260 at the corner. On my way.
Most of us like to see in the new year with a bit of drink and a few party poppers. Not the guy in the car ahead. Apparently he's celebrating his new year with a mammoth crime spree. For starters, the car he's driving is stolen. And on top of Grand Theft Auto, this crim may also be guilty of drink driving. He's going at it like a loony and endangering anyone he passes. And with a criminal on the run and a New Year's Eve party to go to, the cop's patience is wearing thin. He decides it's time to end this. But the fleeing felon remains unfazed. With less than 14 minutes to go until midnight, the pursuing officer just wants this guy to pull over, get out of his car, and go to jail, so he can hit the buffet back at the PD party. This time he makes a sizable dent in the stolen car's rear, and it looks like his tactic has worked. It's just gone 11:47, there's still time for the officer to make his arrest and get partying. But the car thief still hasn't stopped running. The cop is in such a hurry to cuff him and stuff him into the back of his cruiser, he's taken completely by surprise when the crook runs again. So much for those party plans. The suspect's escape works, and the cop heads home with his tail between his legs. This car thief obviously likes to see out the year with a bang. But having notched up no fewer than 12 separate felonies during tonight's fun and games, he'll have plenty of options for his New Year's resolutions. The guy in this red SUV is quite annoyed that he's been caught speeding.
What's the date on that? I'll have to plead guilty if I got to work, because I can't afford to take the day off. Goddamn asshole! Now just give me the goddamn thing, let me get out of here.
Normally, this level of barefaced cheek would virtually guarantee you a one-way trip to jail, but somehow the officer manages to keep his cool in the face of all this abuse.
Can I explain it to you, sir, so you'll know what you need to do?
I know what I do. You're ripping me off, and I didn't deserve it because I didn't do nothing wrong. You're probably sitting out parking lot driving right back and forth to get someone in the 40 miles of whatever frig it is. I never saw the sign. I saw.
The driver claims he's innocent, but he does seem very familiar with this particular process.
There ain't no explaining. I got picked up for speeding before. You're guilty, and you pay the fine, and hope your insurance don't go up, and you try not to speed the next time. And that's what I've been trying to do for 4 or 5 years, and it's worked damn good till I run into you, you asshole.
The only retaliation the cop allows himself is a subtle hint of sarcasm in his voice.
Read the back of this hard copy. This will explain how you can have a trial if you want one. On the back, that'll explain it. Attaches an envelope.
For a moment, it looks like the man's ranting is over, and then he finds out how big his fine is.
The fine's right here, sir. It's $137.50.
You're fucking crazy! I can't! You're fucking crazy! My wife took money out of her goddamn account where she's working to pay my fucking insurance so I wouldn't get picked up. You're fucking crazy!
If you don't pick this up, sir, I'm going to summon you for littering.
I'll pick the goddamn... 100... Are you fucking crazy? I see me speeding, you goddamn asshole! $100 and some dollars! Jesus fucking H. Christ!
There's some more right there.
I've never heard of a fine like that in my life, you goddamn asshole! You fucking asshole! Let me get the fuck out of your sight, you goddamn miserable fucking... Jesus Christ!
But this deadhead isn't going to leave without having the last word.
Like I said, my wife, out of the grace of her heart, when I came home, that she had taken money out of her savings account because I'm fucking dead broke. If we can get this economy going again and start treating people fair and get assholes like you to do something decent instead of picking up some fucking innocent guy that wasn't speeding to begin with.
Bye.
Let's see that again.
Stand.
The fine's right here, sir. It's $137.50.
You're fucking crazy! I get it! You're fucking crazy, my wife!
You couldn't make it up. But then this is America, home of the brave and some of the stupidest people on the face of the entire earth.
Bye.
Still to come on Cops Uncut. An Ohio trooper has a narrow escape from this terrifying traffic trauma. Fireworks on this Alabama expressway. And this urban outlaw heads for the fields. And now to Texas, where the state motto is friendship. Let's just see a bit of that friendship in action.
Ma'am, the reason why you're being stopped today is failed to come to a complete stop at the stop sign at the...
Itching to use his pepper spray, this cop has stopped a woman for some ridiculously silly traffic violation. But it doesn't look much like a case of pepper required. For the time being, he reluctantly keeps his deadly spray in his trousers.
And then you slow down to about 30.
But the cop hasn't paid enough attention to this car pulling up in front. It belongs to the lady's husband, and he wants to know who's chatting up his girl.
You're just on your way home. Sir, stay in your vehicle. Sir, I asked you to stay in your vehicle.
I'm not violating any law.
Yes, you are. You're coming right in the middle of my bike.
At last, the Texan trooper can whip out his eye-watering weapon and let rip.
320. Right in the middle of my bike.
Now he's completely blind. Any possible threat the husband may have been has disappeared.
Honey, I can't see.
But the officer still knocks him to the floor, kneels on his spine and calls for backup, just in case.
322, 10-4. Man, stay back or you're going to get something. Stay back now! Now!
Why are you arresting him?
What have I done?
Listen, you little jerk off. What have I done?
Failed to obey a peace officer, sir.
My eyes hurt.
I understand, sir.
Finally, backup arrives to take the man away.
I can't see, hon.
I need to check his ankles real quick.
The husband's badly hurt. He's been temporarily blinded and may also have a leg injury.
You're just on your way home.
This guy said the wrong thing to the wrong cop and inadvertently gave the arresting officer the perfect opportunity to put mace in a face. Which all goes to show there are still plenty of cowboys in Texas.
Taking off again.
This routine pursuit in LA starts off with a very familiar scenario. Crook flees police in shabby, beaten-up car. Drives across town, leading a whole load of squad cars round in circles. But this is Hollywood, where they do things differently. A news crew is covering every twist and turn from a helicopter. And thanks to TV and radio coverage, the runaway driver starts to pick up a bit of a cult following. As the hours tick by and the sunlight begins to fade, this guy's celebrity status grows and local residents start to cheer him on. Looks like he's become a bit of a folk hero. And when the police eventually manage to stop him, locals intervene and the cops almost end up with a riot. The show seems to be over when the man's finally pulled from his car, but this is Hollywood, and you can be certain that a TV movie of the week isn't far behind. Thanks to the eye in the sky, this runaway quickly shot to fame, but not even his most ardent fans can save him when the police decide to go on the pull. Police Academy Lesson 103, SUVs. SUV stands for Sports Utility Vehicle, but you'll rarely find one involved in any actual sporting activity. In fact, the SUV is a large, unnecessary, fuel-guzzling transport favoured by hardened gangsters and suburban mummies alike. The most important thing to know about American SUVs is that they're prone to falling over. That means that the tiniest of nudges in just the right place will almost always result in a spectacular rollover crash. Let's see that move again, this time from the squad car behind the ramming cruiser. Yes, it's definitely over and out for this crookmobile. Interestingly, this Jeep appears to be equipped with an ejector seat as standard instead of the usual seatbelts and airbags. Even so, it should be relatively easy to make your arrest. It's always worth checking the SUV for secret compartments. You never know what or who you might find. So to recap, if you see an SUV on the street, why not give it a quick shove? See if any criminals fall out. And if you get lucky, follow standard police procedure and read your suspect his rights. Or alternatively, just kneel on his head. Class dismissed. Here's one to file under ouch. By the time this cop arrives at the scene, the accident has already happened, or so he thinks. The car ahead of the cruiser in front has been in a collision, and this cop has just come to lend a hand. Lightning doesn't strike twice, they say. Well, they couldn't be more wrong. In fact, this catastrophic collision takes down not just one, but two cops. Look closely and you'll see a second officer sitting behind the wheel of the cruiser ahead just as disaster strikes. But however bad this crash might appear, both officers went on to make full recoveries and big compensation claims. Still to come on Cops Uncut. We get a sky-high view of a crash from a helicopter. This driver gets down and dirty through someone's garden. And a state trooper shows that if you're really looking for trouble, it might just come and find you. Don't go away.
260 at the corner. On my way.
On his way to the scene of one dangerous situation, this cop is about to find himself slap bang in the middle of another. The policeman in this cruiser has been called to assist in an incident involving a stolen vehicle, and he needs to get there fast. Sadly, most of the road is currently taken up by this enormous, slow-moving lorry. Sirens blaring, the cop tries to overtake, but on these narrow New Hampshire roads, it's just too dangerous. Eventually, the truck driver twigs and pulls over out of harm's way. Or so he thinks. Seems like the driver of this red pickup pulled out without looking left or right, let alone straight ahead. So now that stolen car will just have to wait while the officer clears up the unholy mess. Running from the cops down the wrong side of a dual carriageway simply isn't a very bright idea, because it really is only a matter of time before you come face to face with someone coming the other way. And in the unlikely event you manage to survive a head-on collision like this, you'll be a sitting duck for the police when they eventually arrive. And when your motor's been crushed like a crisp bag, you're almost certainly going to need a fire engine or two to carve you from the wreck. In this instance, everyone miraculously escapes serious injury. The victims, though, are understandably rather shaken up. But it's the runaway himself who really comes away empty-handed. When you go against the flow, you're sure to have a smashing time. Just don't be surprised if some old friends crash the party too. Still to come, this DUI guy does a runner, and Mullet Man meets the muzzle of this cop's gun.
260 at the corner.
On my way.
How to get arrested. If you're a crook who regularly finds himself in police chase situations, then it's extremely important to check your tires regularly. Because if you're the sort of cheapskate who wears out his rubber until it's virtually bald, then something like this is bound to happen. It might look spectacular, but a blowout like this will almost always signal the end of the chase. Now, at this point, you have two choices. You can either try running away on foot and risk being shot in the back, or you can just give yourself up. And if you're not 100% sure of the proper etiquette in arrest situations, then don't worry. The cops are sure to lend you a gentle guiding hand. Once the cuffs are on, you know that the arrest is almost over. All that remains is for one of the cops to stand proudly on your back as though he's just shot an elk. So remember, before you go on a crime spree, always make sure you've got plenty of tread. Otherwise, you'll just end up getting trodden on. Sometimes the easiest crooks to catch are the ones having the most difficulty behind the wheel. The bozo ahead, for example, couldn't even drive a Dodgem. If he can't even keep all four wheels on the ground, then there's little hope of him keeping to the tarmac. On the bright side, at least he's managing to stay under the speed limit. But his car can only take so much punishment.
He's got a flat, he ain't gonna last.
The cop's right, and even the fugitive realizes it's probably time to go home. Amidst much shouting and gun-waving, the excitable officers drag the world's worst getaway driver out of his car, get him face down on the ground, and take him from behind. So if your driving's a bit dodgy, don't try it on, because American cops just love a bit of violent bumper action.
Taking off again.
Divorce can be a messy business, but a run-in with the cops can make things even worse. The jilted John in the SUV ahead triggered this cop's boozometer when he found him driving on the shoulder.
Have you been drinking tonight, sir? No, sir. You haven't had anything to drink tonight at all? Not at all. Okay. You know what?
Flatly denying he's drunk a drop, the man admits to being in a local bar, but swiftly launches into a sob story that he hopes will get him off the hook.
Here's my problem. I'm going through divorce right now, and my wife...
But the tale of woe has little effect on the cop's line of questioning.
How much have you had to drink tonight, sir? Officer, nothing. Not a thing? No, sir. Would you take a preliminary breath test? No, sir. Why not? No, sir. How much have you had to drink tonight, bud? I can smell it, man. Officer, I will not take a breath.
Sensing an imminent arrest, the man tries a new tactic to gain the officer's sympathy.
I'm going through a divorce. I just gotta go home. I just gotta go home. I'll walk. How much have you had to drink tonight?
But not even tears can crack this cop's granite heart. So the officer does what any sensitive person would do under the circumstances and subjects his already tired and emotional suspect to some ritual humiliation.
I tell you to do do so. Do you understand? Yes, sir. Okay, when I tell you to, sir, what I want you to do is tip your head back, close your eyes, recite the alphabet starting at D and stopping at X. D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, E, F. You want to try it again? Yes, sir. Okay, go ahead.
But with a vat of booze coursing through his veins, the guy fails test after test. He even tries to spare himself further embarrassment by confessing his guilt.
1014, officer, you have me. Okay.
But the officer is clearly keen on humiliation.
I want you to put your right foot in front of your left, touching heel to toe. Yes, sir. Right now for me.
With the test complete, the suspect seems to realize that he may not have got full marks. He makes a shifty move towards his motor
Keep your hands out of your pockets for me.
and looks like he might drive off. The trooper does little to stop him. But he doesn't leave. Inspired by the lack of resistance to his first escape attempt, the suspect does it again, this time for real.
Get up.
The officer swiftly engages pursuit mode and soon catches up with the escaping ex-husband. But it seems the runaway wasn't listening to the cops' earlier warnings about driving too close to the side of the road.
He's in the ditch, he's in the ditch. Just...
Because this time he goes right over the edge. This crybaby has already been ditched by his wife. But when he tries to bail out of his arrest,
Go to the car right now.
he gets ditched all over again.
He's in the ditch, he's in the ditch.
If you've just joined us, this is what you've missed. A Tallapoosa troublemaker saw in the new year with a bit of a do.
Yes, sir.
A speeding motorist couldn't keep his cool.
You're fucking crazy! Ah! Ah!
We showed you how American SUVs handle like tugboats. This cop got a shock when a trucker came from nowhere. And if you're off-roading, it's always best to avoid the trees. Be careful out there.